Hey everybody, Steven here. It's been a while since I made a video, just because I've been so swamped with everything, but it's good stuff that I've been working on. And actually for this video I'll be talking about my experience with the grip approach. But I've been doing that and working on launching our remake of Color Me Zombied, which is a children's book that I did years ago. Have a good team together, so we have another company called Oddball Publishing. I'll put a link for some of that stuff, but this is actually one of the books. This is the second book that we did, Undyed Nightmare, but working on the remake of the first book, and then working on a new book series called Intertwined that we're working on, and then the third book in this series, so just a lot going on. And the gym I was training at closed, so we had 2 weeks to figure out where we were going to go, so I had to kind of scramble and find a new facility to train out of. So eventually some of the videos that I'll have will be actually covering some of that stuff, and essentially I'll be filming the new stuff at the new facility, which is called Journey Fitness, and really clean, nice facility. It's just busier, so it's harder for me to shoot video there without a bunch of people walking through the shots or anything like that. Also, I ordered a new, it's called a gimbal, right, kind of tracks and pans, but this one actually will follow my movement, so I'm excited about that. So a lot of the videos that I do, I'll be able to actually click on myself with my phone, and then it'll follow me as I move, instead of just being a pan shot like this where it's just showing me in one location. So really excited about that, just because I'll be able to do a lot more content-wise with that. I just can't afford to hire somebody to videotape me, and it's harder when you ask somebody else to do it and they don't really know what they're doing, and then you look at it and it's like, whoa, that's really off. So, but for this video, I wanted to talk about my experience with the grip approach. Global, because I got it right here. This is the website, which is just gripapproach.com. I'll put that in the description box. So, Global Rehabilitation and Injury Prevention Approach. This is kind of built on the backbones of a lot of other systems. One of the main ones is DNS, Dynamic Neuromuscular Stabilization. Benjamin, the guy that created this program, is taking a ton of their courses. The guy is very, very knowledgeable. And essentially what you're dealing with is developmental kinesiology, right? So we're really looking at how do we develop, I think it's like from when you're born up until age 6, really how do you just inherently grow? Because we have patterns and movements that we do. Nobody's teaching us how to crawl, walk, roll over, all these other things. They're just inherent to us as a species. So looking at that, and then with DNS you kind of like test to see if you have that. If you don't, you do that pattern more. And they have specific markers. This is a 3-month position, a 6-month position, this is called this, all these other things. So it's built on that. What I like is, and Benjamin talks about this, is really he's just distilled down the information from that and a bunch of other systems. Like, what's the most effective things that you can do right now to elicit the greatest response and greatest improvement? What's the biggest bang for your buck, essentially? So went to Kansas City. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so went to Kansas City with a group of people. If you do have a chance to go to a workshop or a certification, I highly recommend it if you are not necessarily on the corrective side, because I think a lot of times that I've done a video on this where people get like stuck in, we call it like corrective purgatory, where they're just like constantly doing correctives. But what I like with what Benjamin's done is really just taking that and like, because I asked him, how do I integrate this into mine? Because I have a very specific, like, we warm up, we do skill-based stuff, we work on the workout, and then we do our cool down. And doing this as a test, because essentially the way it works is like, first, initially right now, I'm just working on the test that we've gone over. Eventually I'll hone that in with the client, or the person that comes to me with a very specific thing. We test, we basically see, all right, is this, you actually have like a capsule problem in the joint, or like a ton of tight muscles, or like something that's physically limiting you, or I'm gonna need to send you to somebody else. Or is it a motor control issue, right? Is it, because this is really dealing with the neurological system. And if it's a motor control issue, we can do what he calls a global reset. We come back, we test again to see that there's improvement. And he really said you're expecting like a 1 to 5% improvement with that you'll stack over time. So after a handful of sessions, like, oh wow, that's like a 25% improvement over these last handful of sessions. Like, that's a big jump. Sometimes it's greater than that, right? But looking at that and differentiating, I think, which is important, and that's why I'm excited to really integrate this into my own personal practice, which is showing the client and really for myself too, being able to steer what I'm going to do with them based off of, no, you actually have something going on with that joint or whatever it may be, versus, oh, you just have a motor control issue that we can fix, we can help, right? Maybe not fix, maybe just help, but we can improve greatly based off these things that we're going to do. Because really what the resets are is it's telling your neurological system that you have access to this range of motion or this function. So like one of the ones I just blatantly failed was internal hip rotation, where you raise your leg up a little bit, internally rotate your hip. That's one of the few out of the handful that we did for this first part, because it's a 3-part series, 3 weekends before we do our final test. And that one I just straight up failed. And it's intense when you do the global resets, because it's all scalable, which is awesome. But looking on that, that's something I've been working on. So doing the soft tissue with it, because part of it is soft tissue that I need to do on my groin and my hip. And then the other part is doing these neurological drills, basically these global resets, to really get the motor control down, where I can tell my brain, right, my neurological system, hey, we do have access to this, we need to use it. So, and for me, it makes sense. I've thrown on my back multiple times. I've had a handful of herniated disc at like L3, L4. And when that happens, my body, my hips literally lock down my spine, and I like tilt to get away from the pain. And it makes sense that my hips don't want to move now, right? Because you have enough of those, and then your brain goes, oh, we probably shouldn't let these hips move that much, right? We've had an injury, and one of the things we talked about is really like PTSD with pain, which I think is interesting. And a lot of times if you've had an injury, or maybe you've had multiple injuries, eventually like the neurological system's like, let's not do anything that's remotely close to this, right? And it might even create pain that you're not really having, just so that you avoid that position, which I found very interesting, and makes sense in my opinion, just because I know for me, like my back is fine right now, but I'll do certain positions that I'm not under load, and my back starts to like almost tighten up, like it's very hesitant of that particular position, because that's where I injured myself. So looking at that and trying to unwind and unpackage some of that, so you do have more control, because that's the big thing here, which is injury prevention. That's what I've told my clients. It's like, hey, let's get ahead of this stuff. It's not that I'm gonna do this with you all the time. Eventually, when I hone it down, I know a handful of things we need to work on. We're gonna improve those things. And with that, it's really about the injury prevention side and gaining you access to these ranges of motion or these functions that you don't have access to right now because of these motor control issues. So, like I said, I highly recommend it. Look them up on YouTube, go to their website, check out their stuff. I don't want to put anything on this video or layer anything on top from our certification, just because I know that that's really, one, it's a big no-no to just broadcast that without their permission, but also it is somewhat of a newer system, and I want you guys to go directly to them with questions and all of that, just because I'm not going to be the person that's going to show you all this stuff yet. I'm just not well versed in it yet. I'm definitely excited about what this is going to do for my practice, though, because I like DNS because I did one of the training workshops over the weekend. I liked it, and I do integrate a lot of stuff with it, but I found Benjamin's cues with grip easier to do, quicker to get to, and it was certain things that we didn't even cover in DNS, like with intra-abdominal pressure and how we're really filling this chamber and not creating strain in order to do that. Just a ton of great information. So I'm excited. We have a couple weeks, we have the second part, and then a couple weeks after that we do our test, and we come back, we finish up with everything, and then I'll be fully certified. Granted, I passed the test on that. So that is that. Check them out, guys. Like I said, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Check out their website. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. I will be pumping out more content soon. It's just right now, it's just crazy hectic for me with trying to get all of this done. So expect more videos. And as always, if you guys have anything that you want to see, please let me know in the comment section. That way I can get those videos out for you as well. This really started out as a way to help with clients, giving them information, but that's for anybody. Like if you want information, just let me know so I can get that out. But do understand also, I'm not there in person, so it's a little bit harder. So I can't cue everything exactly the same. I can just give you all the information with that. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to continue to follow along with all of my content, hit the subscribe button for me, and thank you so much for watching.